Hey, I'm Steph, and I'm obsessed with all things travel, marketing, branding, and helping you stand out from the crowd. In just under 2 years, I went from being a home-based travel agent with zero clue how to make it work in the digital world to launching an international ranking travel podcast and creating an online course to help travel agents in lead generation. Here's one thing I know for sure. There has never in the history of the world been a better time to create the travel business you've always wanted. All you need is an actionable strategy and someone to show you the way. Picture this. We're going to spend the next hour of our time together at the Swim Up Pool Bar, where over a cocktail, we deep dive into travel-related topics, mixed with a little classroom training. This show is dedicated to encouraging you to step outside of your comfort zone and into your travel business. I'll show you how I did it and how you can too. Hit subscribe now and let's get into it. If you're a travel agent wanting to stand out in the digital world but you struggle with consistency, tech isn't your jam and you have no idea where to start, join my free masterclass where I talk about exactly this. Head to stephaniemyers.academy/masterclass. You're listening to Unplug in Paradise, the podcast. Hello, my travel industry pals. It has been so long. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. What feels like forever, I've taken a bit of a step back from socials, my EDMs in the last couple of months or so, just to recalibrate after our incredible Travel Trend Summit and after enrolling a whole heap of brand new, incredible students into our Travel Agent Runway program. What I can tell you is that I've learned so much during this time. It's been a really, really beautiful break for me for prioritizing fun, rest, rejuvenation, and everything else that's happening behind the scenes. But one major thing that you've probably noticed in the change of everything that's happened is my Instagram handle. I am no longer Travel by Stephanie. I am now Stephanie Myers.academy. And this, I feel, personally has been a long time coming. And this is just branching off a conversation that I had earlier today with my very good friend Adrian, the cruise and travel guy. We were chatting about how other people see us versus where we actually see ourselves. So this was something that a lot of people, saw of me very early on in the piece. But for me personally, it's only just something that I've arrived to. So I'm very stoked to, have that all done. But yeah, the best way to explain this is that when I did start my account, it was a travel agent account. So I was building up my audience in the same way that a lot of you are currently doing. And whilst during COVID, my pivot and everything, I did change to a more B2B structure to work with those in the industry. So my account, the handle and everything felt really out of whack and needed some serious realignment. So even though this might seem, not like a really big deal, I wanted to touch base on the fact that yes, it is definitely okay to grow your identity in the online space. It is okay to evolve. And you know what? This is how you grow. This is how you continue to learn, and it's all part of the business journey. So with this comes the plan to refresh my website and go through a mini business remodel and tick off a few other things that I've had on the to-do list for quite a while. So I'm super excited to be getting, really productive in the back end and share with you more of the behind the scenes stuff as it rolls out. But before we dive into today's juicy podcast episode, which I've been hanging on to releasing, is that I want to invite you to our brand new Unplug in Paradise podcast listener community on Facebook, as this is the place where I drop brand new episodes, chat with fellow listeners in the industry, and have your say about what you want to see on the show, what you want to know about, what do you want to leverage on, what do you need to learn, what is it that you would like to know more? If you've got a special guest that you think I should add on to my wish list, let me know and I'll do my best to pitch to them. But yeah, everything that you need to know to leverage the digital world to skyrocket your visibility online and become the number one go-to expert in your niche. So make sure you jump on, type in Unplug and Paradise podcast listener community, add yourself, and I would love to see you in there. But yeah, any other ideas? I'm listening and I'm here for it. So, on that note, today's episode, we are diving into a topic that is at the heart of what I do, empowering travel business owners to realize and understand their significance and role in the digital age, but specifically the critical element to online success that no one is talking to you about. So, let's go and get into it. In today's episode, I'm going to sink my teeth into a rather juicy and meaty topic. And it's something that we have not genuinely spoken about on the podcast. We're tasked with the responsibility to create change as well as curating unique experiences for our clients and our customers to make their dreams come true, make their lives easier, and ensure that their journeys are unforgettable as always. However, like I've been saying for quite a long time, you need to have a digital aspect inside of your business, and there is a silent crisis brewing within the industry. The neglect of building a robust online personal brand and online presence seems to not be at the on the top of everyone's priority list when it should be. It's the number one thing that you need to stand out. It works for some people in different areas, but it's not for everyone. And I think we actually need to wake up and admit that that is actually not for everyone. So yes, it might surprise you, but it also might not surprise you that these outdated marketing strategies are still lingering. These strategies not only fail to cater to the evolving preferences of travelers, but it can also harm your business in the long run. Because, yeah, that's why I'm here. I'm here delving into what the travel industry actually needs to prioritize when it comes to building an online presence, how we do that effectively, and why it's so important to stand out authentically in the online world. So, as we know, we have got quite an outdated approach, right? Like, that was at the very beginning of my journey and opening up, Stephanie Meyer's Academy, creating my course, Travel Agent Runway, and going through the curriculum of what I wanted to add in. Based on my own journey, of course, this is no in which way a blueprint. It is my personal blueprint. There was still people who I had, who came forward that wanted to help me during the course of the pandemic as part of some market research, was still doing mailbox drops in Sydney. Now, this is huge, right? Because we have always relied on traditional marketing methods, brochures, printing advertisements, mailbox drops, and word of mouth referrals to attract our clients. Like, it's just always been a thing. However, the landscape now has drastically changed, and today's travelers are more tech savvy than ever. They are very discerning and they are inundated with information from online sources. So you really need to cut through the noise. Like, how are you cutting through the noise using outdated traditional methods of attracting business? Because if we rely solely on old school methods to market your travel expertise and your knowledge and what you're passionate about selling, you are going to be swimming against the tide, my friend. Like, it is time to stop and reassess. Because the biggest problem that is facing the travel industry is the failure to understand the importance of niching down and targeting the right audience. Because many travel advisors that I, speak to on a regular basis, they attempt to attract anyone and everyone, believing that a broad approach will then lead to more business. However, this approach often results in a diluted message, so it does not offer anything towards your personal experience, the things that you've seen, the experiences that you've witnessed, the magic you've made for other people. It really waters down, and that message fails to resonate with potential clients. They don't see you as a person. They see you as just another person to take their order. And you definitely don't want that. So, another thing that I did come across recently, because I attended the Clear Cruise 360 event in Brisbane, and oh my goodness, like it was such high energy. It was so nice to reconnect with a lot of people that I haven't seen for a long time because, hey, I don't attend events very often. I either make them myself or I attend big ones like this. And my ongoing relationship with Clear, I absolutely love those guys. So it was really nice to reconnect with those and see people again. Gosh, it makes me sound like such a homebody. But yeah, some of the things that they had put across was that the number one thing, so I'm talking about there was a lot of stage presentations, lots of panels, people speaking together, and the audience was basically listening in on conversations. There wasn't, and this is something that I realized when I was creating the Travel Trend Summit, bit of a side note, is that when you are creating an event and you're wanting to instill an emotional connection in the audience, like you need to interact with those people. Otherwise, we are just the biggest third wheel in the world, just listening in on a couple of people wearing suits on stage, having a chat. And you know what? Like, yeah, sure, we can take things away from that, but it could also be put into a podcast and you can listen to it when you want, or it could have been summed up in a video or something like that. You know, a lot of people spend a lot of money to, travel to Brisbane, listen in on all the presentations and things like that when it was, fairly basic information that was being covered with no clear thing that they offer in their business is their service. And they believe that that is the number one thing that sets them apart. So for me to hear that was a little bit cringeworthy because at the end of the day, the guy at my local fruit shop, he gives me great service. Like obviously I'm going to go buy my fruit from him, but if I go and buy my fruit from someone else, I'm not going to give myself a guilt trip over it because he gives me really good service. It's not enough to make people stay. And yes, we're in a world where we're constantly being inundated by marketing strategies and tools and techniques and psychology sales and all these sorts of things that, yeah, having top level service is not enough to make your clients stay or make the right client stay, which is actually worse. So a lot of the discussions was up and around this, and yeah, a few things, a few housekeeping tips. Please don't ever refer to your business as your little business. If you are working a part-time job or a full-time job and have a travel business, on the side, don't call it your little travel business or your little business or your side hustle. Like, please do not refer to it like that because honestly, it discredits you, all your efforts, all your credibility, and everything that you've worked so hard for to actually get that business up off the ground. So I say this with all the love in my heart. Please don't refer to it as a small business. Now, I'm not speaking about anyone in particular, but there is business owners out there and I see everything, right? Like I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I see everything. I get things sent to me all the time. It's kind of like, well, hey, like if these people are online and they're in the travel industry, if they feel like this is working for them and they feel like that is their best efforts, then sure, like I'm going to celebrate them because that's what they are doing. And at the end of the day, I want everyone to feel like They do definitely have their little slice of real estate. But when you're just a victim of circumstance and good things just happen to you, and you don't necessarily know how you arrived there, or, say for example, you won an award, or you became a finalist in an award, or you won a grant, or you were selected. There's always so many things in the travel industry. If you're just kind of speaking to that as it's just something that it was nice that it happened, but you didn't realize like it was a surprise, or you didn't know how you got there, or you don't know why you were chosen, or anything like that, please celebrate that and own it. Own it. Because at the end of the day, if you are not celebrating your wins, no one is. And I want to publicly announce that everything that you do in your business, all the late nights, all the early mornings, all the overtime, all the grueling phone conversations, all the backwards and forwards emails, all the hold times to suppliers, like, this job is freaking hard at the best of times, let alone when we have additional stresses like, staff outages, talent, shortages, things like that. We're kind of all overrun in our businesses. Time's an issue as well. So please don't shortchange yourself by just having a journey that's been pretty real journey. Like, share that authentically with your audience. Like, this is how people see you. They need to have that emotive reaction from you, like an emotional response. So if you've had a really hard story, or if you've had a really hard journey and you've come out of COVID and maybe you haven't restarted your business yet, or maybe you have, but all of that information and all of that storytelling on your behalf of how you are trying to get yourself out of this little rut, or you've still got a part-time job and you're wanting to make travel your full-time job, like, please demonstrate that to your audience, because those people in the crowd are like, wow, that girl is amazing, or wow, that guy has got it going on. He's working really hard to get to where he wants to be. And generally, people want to help and support you. Another thing that I wanted to bring up was that putting yourself out there in the online world is so much more than just having a social media account and posting things to it. So unless you've got a core contents channel, which is like a YouTube channel or a podcast or a blog, or, you're a photographer and you update your gallery and you're sharing your images with the world, like, unless you've got something going on in the background, you generally don't have anything to share on your social media accounts. So let me explain in a little bit more depth. So my podcast is my core content channel. It is the number one thing that I produce, or I should be producing, on a weekly basis, that then I can repurpose into social media content, reels, short videos, face to camera stories, carousels, tiles, all of the things. It's also content that I put into our Unplug and Paradise listener community as well. Like, it's a talking point. And it's also strategically done. So I'm only creating one piece of content, but then I'm repurposing it and chunking it all out. And I often joke, with my industry friends, that I'm a bit of a truffle pig when it comes to digging those little nuggets of gold, because they're the things that you want to be sharing with your audience. And you know what? At the very beginning, like, we are such, we want instant gratification on absolutely everything. So as soon as we post something online on our socials and we haven't showed up for a while, we are sitting there, we are waiting for those likes, we are waiting for those comments to come through. Like, tell me I'm wrong. But at the end of the day, if that's why we're doing it, then we're not thinking of this in the right way. We need to be thinking of this as that we are building our content library. We want people to jump onto our Instagram in like a couple of weeks' time or 6 months' time, or whenever they come across you, and scroll through all of your tiles or all of your posts and go, wow, this person is my person. Like, look at all the cool things that they produce. And even though, the likes might not be high, or the comments might not be very fulfilling, or anything other than spam. But you know what? Don't look too far at those things. They're all superficial things, and you are most importantly building your content library. So to this day, I still have people liking things that I've posted more than 2 years ago. And it's because the shelf life on social media is long. People do say, oh, it's short, you need to constantly be creating. And it's not true, because in my time, in my break that I've had over the last few months, I have noticed a lot of things. I have noticed that my Instagram account analytics have gone downhill because I'm not showing up. But the strange thing is, I'm still getting comments, I'm still getting likes, and I'm still getting DMs from people going, hey, where are you, girl? What have you been doing? Is everything okay? Are you fine? You've been quiet. And you know what? That is the best recognition and acknowledgement that you could get ever in the digital space, because you're still being recognized even when you aren't showing up. But that's because you've built something and you've got something to offer people, and it's your library of content. So next time you aren't sure whether you should post that, photo of yourself or do that introductory, Roz from Travel Agent Achievers is doing a 4-day social media challenge at the moment. Super fun. Everyone's been reintroducing themselves on their socials, which is absolutely brilliant. Love seeing everyone's faces and a little bit more information about them. See, this is the thing. This is all that putting yourself inside of your business. This is where we need to be, because we are no one behind the business card. We are no one behind the keyboard. We need to be in front of all of those things, because without us, our business is not a business. So, yeah. There's been a lot in this episode so far, and I have got loads more to share. But what I think I might do is go through and actually segment them and create other podcast episodes around them. But for what I can say is that if you are relying on traditional ways to generate business with little to no online presence, we need to talk. So recently, just after the Travel Trends Summit, I onboarded a new group of students inside of our online program, Travel Agent Runway. And honestly, by the time our next Travel Trends Summit comes around next year, these people are going to be on the honor roll. They're going to be doing the walk of fame, because they're going to have a digital presence. They're going to have a lead generation system inside of their business where they're building their email list of perfectly fit clients for their business. Their business figures are going to be skyrocketing, and their online presence is going to be highly engaged as well. So we'll be looking forward to celebrating all of those people next year. If you want to be in the know or understand what it is that I do here, I do have a masterclass, but I'd love for you to go and check out. It's free travel agent training just for you on how to create a personal brand and skyrocket your online presence and be the number one expert in your niche. So if you want to check that out, it's stephaniemyers.academy/masterclass. It goes for about an hour. I'm sure you'll be able to make some time for it. It's definitely one of those things that is quite thought-provoking, and I've had a lot of agents come back to me and go, "Oh my God, you're a beast." And I've got a page full of notes. So if I can do that for you just in your free time or your spare time, I know what free time, right? Like, we're so busy all the time. I would love to do that. So I will leave that in the show notes. But yeah, I would love to see you next week. I'm so pumped to be back on the podcast, and I think this episode has definitely lit quite a spark under my bum. But yeah, I definitely have a brand new website now. So on top of all the other things that I've got going on, a brand new website domain. So to get the show notes for today's episode is stephaniemyers.com.au/66. Until next week, I will see you in our Unplug in Paradise listener community on Facebook. I look forward to chatting with you over there. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.